with that, all of us picked Orange County will score some goals. And hopefully, our guest here that's going to be joining us right now is part of that score sheet for Orange County against North Carolina. Opened up his scoring for Orange County in the championship, USL championship this past weekend against FC Tulsa with two amazing goals, one cheeky, one a blast that, quote Larry, looked like it was faster when he hit the back of the net. Or was that not Larry? I can't remember who said that.
That
But
that
it's
was me. That was
forward
me.
forward and goal scorer for your Orange County Soccer Club, Lyam MacKinnon. Lyam, first, welcome. First time on the show. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me.
No,
Pleasure.
we're excited to have you, and what a perfect moment to have you on the show after a 2-goal a brace against FC Tulsa, and you did it two different ways. You did the cheeky chip shot over the keeper. You did a back to the net, turn quickly, and blast it. Somehow, I don't even know how you got so much power behind that. Which of those two goals from this past weekend are you most impressed with?
Um, I would say the first one is a finish that I've been wanting to work on in the last couple of years, even. Um, so I think this is probably the one I'm the most happy with personally. But I think the second goal for the entire game and the scenario of the game was definitely the one that felt the best.
And just so we can get clear the air here, the chip over the goalie. It, for anyone that isn't familiar or hasn't played the game of soccer or football around the world, they would look at that and say that's a pretty easy thing to do. I mean that's simple. Just chip it over the goalie, it just bounces to the back of the net. Explain to our listeners that maybe aren't familiar with how soccer works, how difficult to pull that off in a game is.
I feel like obviously the speed of the game makes it harder. Um, Obviously, evaluating the goalie coming out is also a factor in that finish. But the surface, I would say the surface plays a big role. Um, if you want to chip the goalie, yet obviously we have a great home field, and the grass was really perfect last Saturday, so that definitely helped the finish.
And let me ask you this, because we saw sort of your transition to more of a 9 this past match against Tulsa instead of playing it out of the wing where you've been spending most of your time for Orange County. When did you learn that you were going to play that role in this match, and what was your preparation to transition from playing in that winger role to playing that up top 9 striker role?
Yeah. So Coach Denny came to me the day before the game and told me I was going to start at the nine. And to be honest, it's a position that I've played a lot in the past, 5, 6 years. So I'm used to playing the nine as well. I've mainly I've mainly been playing winger on the left side the last couple of years, but um, I'm also comfortable playing at the nine, and that's something I'm used to. So I'm always happy, to play anywhere at the front three, whether it's on the right, left, or up top. So it didn't change really anything to my preparation. I just wanted to help the team, um, hold the ball up and especially in the game. And then obviously, if chances come, it's my job to finish them. So yeah, I was happy to going into that game at the nine.
And you looked great playing the nine, Liam. First of all, let me just say how excited we are, all of us, all of the fans, all of us here on the podcast. Number one, to have you here. Number two, to see you open your account with Orange County Soccer Club. We all knew it was coming. There was never a question in our mind. Excuse me. Um, let's go back and talk about that chip a little bit. So Ashton makes a beautiful pass to you. The defender slips. You've got the other center back. He's right on your hip. You've got the goalie coming at you. With your years of playing this game, and I imagine you've been playing it since you were, 4 or 5 years old. In a situation like this, does it slow down for you, or is it all happening very quickly?
I think it's true that the mental side of especially being a number nine, is definitely a big factor. And I would say in this sort of a situation where you have a lot of time to set yourself up for the finish, I think it's important to have habits. In that play, you mentioned that the last defender was coming back to trying to chase me, so I was just trying to get a cross of him, so to kind of take him out of the play, and then it's kind of like what does the goalie give me? And obviously he came out really fast, so the chip came out, kind of instinctively. So yeah, in those situations, it's I think the most important thing is to really have habits to rely on to execute the finish.
Definitely executed like a champ. Um, the entire team played probably as well as we have seen them play this year. And keep in mind, one thing you're going to learn about me, Liam, I am all emotion. I am no tactics. I don't know squat about tactics when it comes to soccer. I'm just a huge fan of this team and a huge fan of the game. But what I saw Saturday night was a team that was just purely unified. Did you feel that during the 90 when you were on the pitch with everybody? Did you feel connected? What was different about tonight versus I, I hate to bring it up, but the Jägermeister Las Vegas game?
To be honest, I think being on the field from the start in that game, I just felt like we were all together in one single purpose. We just wanted to show our fans what we can do. I think goals scored or conceded, it's part of the game, but I think we wanted to be on the front foot and show that we're able to put a great performance defensively and offensively. I think we pressed a lot in that game. Um, I think that was also to show that we want to we keep fighting, even though the results were not going our way the past games. I think that was a great show of character of our team, and being on the field, I definitely felt that from the first half, even the first 10 minutes. I feel like we were on the front foot, getting a lot of corner kicks, getting a lot of shots off. So I did feel that energy and that feeling of being united on the team, and on the field. So yeah, I felt the same way as you did from the outside for sure.
Awesome. One last question. This is something I like to ask all of our guests, all of you guys who come on the show. You're 24, 25?
25.
25. At what age did you realize I'm pretty damn good at this? I just might be able to make a living at it. How old were you?
That's a very. I was probably, I think, around teenage years, maybe. Around 15, 16, 17, those years. Um, it's always, I think for me, the biggest thing was seeing players of my age kind of climb the ranks and, sign professional contracts, and seeing, I took it as inspiration, I would say. So maybe some guys, they can see it as like, oh, my friend is so ahead of me already, but I kind of took it as, if he can do it, maybe I have a little small chance, and then kind of year after year, going to college and steps like those steps I took, I think I started to realize, okay, I maybe have a chance, but you never really, I guess you never really know until, you sign that first professional contract when you're actually playing. So,
I'm
um,
still waiting for that.
yeah, but yeah, I think those teenage years is really kind of where you know if maybe you have a shot at it.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, Liam, again, awesome, beautiful job Saturday night. Keep firing, man. We are all behind you.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to Brad. Brad's right up there above me, and I'm going to let him talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, Liam, obviously, you were USL League One Player of the Year last year, a Golden Boot winner. However, before that, I don't believe you really played much for a couple years in American soccer. So there was one game, June of 2023, you had a breakout game, scoring a hat trick in 22 minutes, and then a fourth one to top it off in the second half against Red Wolves for Greenville. Uh, was that kind of like your coming out party for like putting the league on notice and saying, you know, I'm here to score a lot of goals and to be, a pretty darn good player?
Yeah, I mean that game in 2023 was yeah, it was kind of a crazy game. I was fortunate enough to get 4 goals in that game, but like you said, it was my rookie year, so it was really about figuring out consistency at that level. I felt like I definitely had the potential to do well in that league, but it was hard to really find my rhythm game after game. So I would have, a really good performance once in, every 4 or 5 games. And my goal my second year was to really find my consistency. If I can get 3 games with a goal in each game, is maybe better than having one game with 3 goals and then not scoring for 5 games. So, um, but I'm still learning, every day. So I also try to take advantage of those experiences you mentioned in my first year in Greenville. So for my first year here, so yeah, it's at the time I think it was a feeling of okay, I'm able to do it in one game, so I should be able to do it again. But obviously, I didn't know at the time that it was going to materialize in my second year the way it did. Um, so yeah,
Awesome. My next question for you is, oh man, why am I already blanking on my question? Uh, Much apology there. I'm
right.
just gonna go ahead and pass it over to Dylan.
Thanks, Brad. Best segue we've ever had on the show. Lime, we've got a couple fan questions that I wanted to ask you. So, um, obviously, you've been here in the U.S. for 6 years now. But what do you miss most about Switzerland?
Stuff outside of family, friends. Usually, I would have said the views because there's some pretty nice views in Switzerland. But to be honest, it's getting really close to it in Orange County. We have also beautiful sunsets, and so it's hard to find really one thing outside of really the connection with people that I have in Switzerland that I miss a lot. Maybe let me think. Oh, I think probably the thing I miss the most is being able to walk to places since Switzerland. I think because yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of nice in Switzerland. It's so small, you're kind of 15 minutes away from everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed it here in Orange County, especially.
Fair enough. I mean, obviously, you have the mountains, but it's hard to compete with the beach. So we get
Yeah,
it.
it
When
is.
you're going out, who's your favorite teammate to go grab a meal with, and what are you two going to grab?
Well, I'll mention two because I was just having dinner with them, Nico and Mo. We have this little tradition, every Tuesday or yeah, usually every Tuesday we try to go get food together. So those two guys.
Nice. Is there a specific restaurant that you've kind of fallen in love with since coming to Orange County?
Um, there is a sushi place. I think it's called Tomikawa. Um, it's really good. I think it's closer to Irvine, so like center of Irvine. So it's a pretty good place.
Got it. And then I've got one final food related one before I hand it off to one of these gents to jump in. What's your favorite vegetable and how do you prepare it?
I would say zucchini because I guess it's a pretty versatile vegetable. You can make different things with it, fry it, boil it. I guess put in the oven. I usually put it in the oven, just 'cause it's easier. Um, with some chicken breasts and maybe before the game. It's a good vegetable to eat.
Good to know. Versatility is usually the key. Brad, I think you have maybe
Yeah,
remembered what you wanted to ask.
my brain fart has concluded, and unfortunately, it's the question I ask every player when it goes on when they come on the show. Who do you model your game off of? Obviously, growing up, what player inspired you, to play the way you do?
So growing up, I mean, I still am a Liverpool fan. So Steven Gerrard was my idol as a young player, even though we didn't really play the same position. So the one thing I was trying to take from him was just his mentality. He was the kind of player that could try to win the game by himself, He didn't always have the best team around, or he did sometimes have a great team around. But I felt like that was just a good example to follow, a good leader as well. So that was the player I grew up watching the most for sure. But nowadays, there's so many. I try to take a little bit from every forward that I can watch. Honestly, at any level, because I feel like there's always something to learn. But at the moment, I mean, just at Liverpool, there's just so many good strikers at the moment. Mo Salah is doing so good right now. So many things to take from his game. So I'd say at the moment, he's probably the one I enjoy watching the most.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and pass off to Andrew.
Yeah, thanks again for talking with us, Liam. Thanks for answering my question at the end of that game yesterday. When we spoke, you made a big point about how hard the team had worked during the game. That you really love to see that effort, and I have a feeling that this next coming game in South Carolina is going to be another physical game that's going to require a lot of intensity, a lot of effort from you guys. I was wondering how you guys have been preparing for that game so far in the week. Has a message from Danny Stone been that it's going to be a physical game? Get ready for that, or has the conversation, the idea has been more something else?
I would say the theme for the past 2 weeks has been just work hard. I think the main theme was just win your duels and work hard. And um, even though we lost the game against Vegas, that week we had a really good week of training and we had a great intensity of training. And sometimes it takes a little bit more than 1 week to show results. And I think against Tulsa we saw a great reaction, but I don't think it's close to even our full potential. Even from what we do in training and the intensity we can bring. So the theme just for me, um, from my point of view, it just stays the same. Just keep harping on working hard, outworking the other team, and then the technical aspect and tactical aspect coming to play, obviously. But um, I think once we bring that intensity we brought against Tulsa, we're going to be very hard to beat, and then the moments of quality will show.
Awesome. That's definitely good to hear that you feel that this team ceiling is a little bit higher. That last game against Tulsa was definitely an exciting one. I think we're all very impressed. So to think that there's another gear still left in the tank, we're definitely looking forward to seeing that. I got one last one. On Friday, you and the team are heading up to South Carolina. You obviously really blew up in Greenville, South Carolina. I might have gotten that switched up north and south, but we're returning to that same region. How do you compare life in the southern United States to here on the West Coast?
Um, I would say the West Coast, at least, the Orange County area, LA area, is a little bit more slow paced to compare it to the East Coast in general, because that's where I spent my first 5 or 4 years, my life in the U.S. Um, but to be honest, Greenville is a very, peaceful sort of city where it's not that big. I think it has maybe 80,000, people living there. So it's a pretty similar vibe to it. Very calm, very, very nice, very clean. So it was definitely an environment that I enjoyed and that I can kind of find here as well. So I those are the kind of environments that I enjoy working with. So that's my perception, I would say, on those two places. So it's gonna be nice to go back on the East Coast though.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'll jump in here really quick. Really quick, I want to ask you this, and we're going to get to a couple fun questions here and then wrap things up. But obviously, you hear Lyam and Liam probably quite often. Correct us right now, the final time. What's the correct way to say your name?
Lyam.
Lyam. So you heard it here on the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Anyone that's thinking of saying Liam, it is Lyam. Let's get it right going here on out. But I've even messed up. I think I even messed up once on this episode,
That's
so I
okay.
apologize for that. We're going to go into a couple fun questions here. The first one's going to relate to music. If you open up your Spotify or Apple or whatever you use for your music right now, what song's probably playing on it?
Let's see. The Weekend.
Liam, you're the first person to actually officially actually check to see what was potentially on the phone
It is
and
right
not
there.
just guess. Usually it's just some random guess, and you actually checked. I love the
Just
thorough
making
the
sure, but
thorough
I would
answer.
probably guess to the weekend as well.
Awesome. Who on the team do you agree with their taste in music? You think they have great taste in music?
I'm gonna say Rob, our strength coach, has great music for our lifts. So
All right.
I would say he's a good music guy for that specific purpose, though.
All right. So I asked that question. So you have to know what potentially is coming up next. Who do you hope never gets to plug their phone into the aux or their whatever they play their music off of and control the music that day?
Let me think.
And I get it. You're new to the team, so it's a tough question to have to answer. But this is every player that's been on here. We've asked these types of questions, and it's usually just a fun time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because there's some people that never get on music, so maybe they have something to hide. I will say, I was gonna say Mo. Obviously, he's from Japan, so but he's actually showed me some good Japanese songs, so I can't say Mo. If I didn't hear the songs that he that he played, maybe I would have said Mo, but um, it's hard to say. Maybe let's Ted. I think I've never heard what Ted listens to, but um, I don't know. I don't trust him.
There we go.
With the music.
All right. Last bit of fun questions here. We've been doing this recently. It's 10 quick response questions. I'm going to give you two choices. You say the first one that comes to your mind as your answer. This is just a way for us to get to know you. There's usually a theme behind this. I'm going to ask these questions. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to apologize because I may have some difficulty pronouncing some of these things I'm going to call here. So the first one, cheese fondue or fish tacos?
Fish taco.
Raclette with potatoes or avocado toast?
Raclette with potatoes all day.
All right. This was one that I'm probably going to mess up, so I apologize ahead of time. Alplermorgranin or fusion-inspired California cuisine?
I don't know what you said the first one, so I guess fusion is
Apparently, this is all courtesy of Gemini. I asked it a question. So apparently it's macaroni and cheese with potatoes. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of that one, so I'll stick with
All right. Yeah. All right. Swiss chocolate or artisanal ice cream?
Swiss chocolate for sure.
All right. So dense Swiss bread or pillowy soft sourdough from San Francisco?
Swiss bread for sure.
All right. Cured meats and sausages or fresh produce with lean proteins?
Fresh produce, lean proteins.
All right. A focus on dairy and potatoes or a Mexican Asian influence?
Mexican Asian influence for sure.
All right. Eating in a cozy mountain chalet or eating beachside at a casual restaurant?
Beachside.
All right. I'm going to mess up this next one. And you probably, I guess I might butcher it so much you might know what it is. Burcheramusli. Okay. I don't know if that's correct. Or breakfast burrito.
Muesli.
All right. What is that for those that don't know?
It's just yogurt with sort of like an oatmeal in it already in it. It's pretty good.
All right. And then last one.
I ate it all the time when I lived in Europe, Ray.
Yeah.
I know this. Larry's laughing at me because he probably knows exactly how to say most of these words, and I'm butchering them all. Last one. Simple regional ingredients or a diverse culinary landscape?
I would say diverse.
All right. And the bonus question here. Do you know what I typed into Gemini to get these 10 this or that questions? Can you guess?
I would say you typed I guess Swiss food against California food.
That's ding ding ding. You got close enough. It was Southern California food, but for some reason they threw in the sourdough bread from San Francisco on that. Lyam, thank you for participating in that, and thank you for not making or laughing at me too hard for some of the butchering of the words like Larry was doing in the background. Any last message you have for any of the fans that are maybe potentially going to make the trip out to Cary, North Carolina, or at least will be watching this match live on the streams? Any last message for them and the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, keep coming out. It's a huge help for us. So especially, I mean, we felt in the last game it was a bit rainy, but so many came out to support us. So yeah, keep coming out. And we're gonna have a great rest of the season for sure.
Awesome. Once again, everyone, a goal scorer and hopefully continued goal scorer for your Orange County Soccer Club, Lyam MacKinnon. Thank you, Lyam, for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you again in the near future.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lyam.